Hey guys, how you doing? It's Danny. Sorry I ain't made a video in a few days. Let me put my backer in. Kids seeing that. I am gonna be showing you guys how to use a pocket jig to put a tabletop together. I already got one together. I practiced so I could make sure I didn't mess up my finished product because I'm building a table, and that's probably why I haven't been making videos. So first thing you want to do, I got a mess here, but first thing you want to do is, I've been complaining because I got a 4x4 table and don't have no room on it. First thing you want to do is make sure that you got a piece of wood like so to stick under your, that way it will just stick under your block you're drilling. That way it will keep it from going up or down. I learned. So that's one thing I want to show you guys. You just snug it, take your clamp, snug it down. Okay, this adjusts, and I'm not going to do a tutorial because there's 950,000 on YouTube. But this right here sits, but I do want to show you so you don't mess your wood up. Okay, say you're using a 1x6 like I'm using. It's really, if you measure it, it's really 1 and about 5/8 stick. So it's 1 inch. It's supposed to be 1, but it's really 5/8 inch stick. But okay, so you want to lay your bit down here. You're going to say, okay, this is where it the bit starts cutting. That's where it pokes the hole. This is where it starts cutting at that very tip right there. So you're going to want to take it. You're going to say, okay, I'm cutting a 5/8 board. So you don't want you want to tighten it down to right there. It's got a little screw in there. You just want to tighten it down. Because I was getting so frustrated because I kept busting through wood and I couldn't figure out why. For one, I was using too long of screws. And see, I'm the type of person that has to kind of watch videos and learn. So, and I know everybody's got videos on this, but I'm going to do a 2020 one. Maybe everybody ain't got a 2020 one out. So, you're going to take your screw, pull it out some. This is the vise that holds your wood in place. You don't want that moving at all. I mean, at all, you don't want it moving. You want it to hold it snug. I got it a little too snug. So, you're going to want to tighten that back down just a tad. You want that stopper where it ain't gonna budge, because you don't want your, especially if you're building a table like I am, you don't want people, because I'm gonna be selling this and I don't want people, I don't want to have big chunks missing out of it. And I mean, I was getting so frustrated because I kept messing up wood and I wasn't doing it right. But I bought a K3 jig, or a Kreg R3 jig. I suggest using a K4 or K5 for the simple fact that it's got this base, that the K3 just is a little piece that sits on your wood. It's too much trouble. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is, first of all, there's an A, B, and C hole on here. I like the B hole because it goes barely, it puts just this tip, the tip of it, it puts a little hole so it can, your screw, your 1-inch screw can go in. And you're going to want to be using these little, it comes as a Kreg. It's a little 1-inch screw, and no, I'm not sponsored by Kreg, but I just like using their product. That's what Matt off 731 Woodworks uses. So, you know, and I follow him faithfully, so that's what I'm going to be using too. So what you want to do is take your drill, it's gonna put a hole like that. Can you see that? Okay. So then you're gonna want to move it over to the middle, because this is gonna be the ends of my table that'll be holding my table together. So the ends are gonna be holding the tabletop together. So you're gonna want to put one. Let's see. Am I directly in the middle? Pretty much. Let's make sure. Okay. And that's solid. puts a little, actually it didn't even put a hole in it, but you're gonna wanna put a little tiny hole. If it doesn't, that's okay too, but it's gonna put a tiny hole most of the time at the end, and that's okay, that's what you want. And I like to use a piece of wood, especially when I got it hanging out like that, so it don't move and jump around on you. And so you're gonna wanna take and hit B again. So you're gonna have 3 holes, just like that, perfect holes. Then this is gonna be my middle part where the wood comes together. So you know you're gonna want it to, you're gonna put it like this. You're gonna have to, and I'll show you how to do that too. You're gonna want that to sit flush. I'm just making an end table, so you ain't gotta go too crazy. I mean, if you're making a big coffee table, you would want more holes. But just being an end table, it's okay the way that, like that. So then I'm gonna do it on this side. I'm gonna take it, and what I did was I already seen the wood. That's why it looks so smooth compared to that. I mean, you can see the color. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I forgot to put my pocket holes in there to put the table together. And you can use wood glue or not. I'm gonna use it because that's what Matt does. And his tables look amazing, so that's how I'm gonna do it. Plus it gives a little bit of stability. And then you can sand out the way the glue look. It makes it shiny and you can sand that out. So what I'm gonna do, pocket hole there. Out. Get about midway. You don't have to be perfect, but you need to try to get it as good as you can, especially if you're going to be selling your product. And then just take it like this. And this does come with a vacuum part that's in that box, and you can hook it up and it'll suck up you hook your vacuum to it, and it'll suck up the excess, so you don't have a big mess. Especially if you're cutting like 50 boards, like another guy I watched, he's like, if you're cutting 50 boards, you're gonna want that. So, and then all you do, go back. All right, so now you got pocket holes. And see, this one, it did come through a little bit. That's okay. It just, you know, this wood is pine, and it just ain't very good. I'm gonna use hardwoods from now on when I build my table, at least oak. So what you're gonna want to do is come over here, here, I'll move you around so you can see what I'm gonna be doing. You're gonna wanna get you right there. Okay, so you're gonna wanna move this stuff. Get that out of there. Get that out of there. Knock that dust off, and I don't want that all over my good wood that I got here. So, you're gonna take, you do not want this moving at all. That's why I'm trying to get that dust off there. So it's sitting flush. Okay. You're gonna want to take I'm gonna make this as square as I can. So I'm gonna take it to the edge of this table, both ends. And I'm seeing I already about messed up. I would have been very upset. You're gonna want to take the middle piece, because I've spent hours working on these. So you're gonna take your middle piece. Get them square to the edge of this table, because this is a pretty square table. Now, you're going to want to take these, get them in there, and hold that down, because you do not want that moving. That's very imperative. Now you're going to want to take your other clamp. This is what I do. I don't know what I suggest it. This works for me. take it, get it to it as tight as you can, and lock it down on there. And I mean, it's tight, and it ain't going nowhere. It's let's see. I'm gonna do this just to be on the safe side. I'm not gonna be tight, but it's gonna be good enough because I don't want these moving at all. Okay. So now you're gonna get your, and I'm telling you to be extra careful when you're using your, I just need to come down a little bit. I just don't want to mess this up because this is a finished piece and then I'll be upset. So, just bring that together just a little bit like that. And I'm just gonna barely, I don't want it to clip hard, and I had it down too hard. Barely clip it. There we go, like that. Now, I'm warning you, because I've done it many times to count. I was getting ready to give up on the pocket whole thing because I couldn't get it to stop busting through my other side. Now, you're gonna want to take, I'm using 1 inch on these. Matt uses 1 1/4, but it was calling for 1 inch in the owner's manual. So you're gonna want to take it, and that's it. Just snug it. You don't want to let that. You don't want to let this. You're better off to use a drill first of all, but I don't want to keep having to hook it around. But just snug it barely. Don't let it keep clicking because it'll bust through that wood. Let's see, get him to move this a little bit. Okay, now you're gonna pick it up. It should be connected. And see, I have had them come through the, look, now that's how you want it to look. See how good that looks? Now your tabletop comes together. Now that's what I was trying to show you guys. If you slam this through, if you take this and you just go to town with it, it will, I'll show you what it does. You see that? It busts through the ends. Now, that's one thing I haven't seen show in these videos, and that is using 1 1/4. I switched to 1 inch and it's perfect. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Be careful about using one. Make sure that you follow Craig's recommendations. I'm not saying Matt's wrong or the other 500 guys on there wrong. All I'm saying is Craig's recommendations are to use 1 inch screws, but it's the thickness of the board. Matt could be using a hardwood and the thickness of the board is calling for 1 1/4. But the thickness of this board, let me get my tape measure and I'll show you. Is calling for on a, see, because your tape measure is not going to show you before 1 inch. So go to the 1 inch mark. It's showing at 5/8 3/4. So you don't want to go and do it at the other way. So I would just follow what Kreg says, and that's not towards Matt or anybody else. That's just saying that, you know, it's your money that you're putting into it. And like, I've wasted a lot of wood. I got wood all over the place where I wasted wood. And let me show you another one I messed up. Here's another table I messed up, where I shot the screws through the end. What it is I was trying to make them meet, and I shot the screws through the end. And that's because I wasn't using the clamps. So when you're using this, you got to use your clamps. That's very important because that's what holds it down. So you just want to clamp that down. Now it's sturdy. It's not going to go nowhere. You see how that wood's moving? That's because I didn't have it clamped. I suggest, my personal opinion, and I hear Matt do it a lot too because of his, maybe his wife's a teacher, so that's why he corrects his speech. But with us country boys, we talk a little different. But I suggest that you use a bigger clamp just to hold everything in place that way. And I just got that on. I'm just saying, just so you can make sure that it's right. But right here, this is I think it's let's see. I bought this one because it was long. And I spent about 50 bucks on these, but they're heavy duty. Now Matt's got Pittsburgh and them will work fine. So this is about 36 inches, give or take. And I mean, it works miracles because, and I mean, you see how heavy duty it is too. So you're gonna wanna use something heavy duty like this. Now I got the smaller one for smaller pieces of wood, but it's still real heavy and heavy duty, and it'll clamp them down. And then with using these are paramount too, that you have these because they hold your wood to the table. So if you use all that, and I got Gorilla, but whatever you use, wood glue is very good and very handy. Then another thing when you're putting your tabletops, now I'm gonna 3D print my tabletops, or my Z-clips, only because I got a 3D printer. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can go on Amazon. I think Wood, what's it called? Wood, shoot, they send me stuff all the time. Let me go to my email, and I'll tell you the name. They got them really cheap. That's the only reason I was looking, so you could go to them and get it. Rockler. They're called Rockler. Go to rockler.com. They have, let me see if you guys can see me. That's kind of embarrassing if it's looking down and I'm standing there talking. Okay, it's called Rockler. They have Black Friday deals 1 week only. I think I seen the Z-clips in there for, I want to say they were maybe $2.99. Don't quote me on that, but I thought that's what I seen them because I was looking at them and I thought, well, heck, I can just make them. They might not be as good because they're plastic and the ones Rockler and them sell are metal, but I'm just saying I'm going to use PLA Plus and 3D print them, and hopefully, or you can use the figure 8 wood clamps, and basically what you do to use those to fasten your tabletop down is you make it, it's a figure 8, and you drill out at the edge, or you can take a router. They make it's called a 4-side bit, and it drills out just enough. It goes down just far enough to keep the so it bites down to about right there, and then you just set your figure 8 on there, and and when the wood moves in the winter and the summer, it'll allow it to move back and forth. And you want to do it on this end instead of this end because it'll only move up and down on this side. If you're moving, I watched a guy, he was showing how it moves. If you do it like this, it moves back and forth. It allows it to wiggle, that figure 8 motion. So it allows movement in your wood. If not, it's going to tear your tabletop up. Because you can take this tabletop and hook it up and hook it to the table and be done with it. But in the winter and the summer, as the temperatures change with moisture, it's going to move your tabletop. And you don't want that. So, all right, guys. Well, I just wanted to check in and show you what I've been doing and what I've been working on. I'm going to be doing some more with 3D printer stuff. I'm going to do one on hairspray. I noticed there ain't very many videos on hairspray, on how to put hairspray on your 3D printer. So I want to do that and show you guys how to use the hairspray on your 3D printer. That way you can get a better bed adhesion if you don't want to use glue and you don't want to use tape. Because with tape, it comes up pretty quick. Like the stickiness of that blue painter's tape, it just doesn't stay down long. So, all right, guys, I'll see you next video. Bye.